Hello, welcome to Looking Through the Glass. Today we have Malisa Hepner. Hi, Melissa. Now you have a podcast. I forgot the name of it. So can you
I
please tell me that?
Yeah, okay, so I have a solo podcast where I am the host and that's emotionally unavailable, and then I have another podcast called Unquiet Soul that I co-host with Angie Hawkins.
Oh, wow, you do two podcasts.
Yeah, the Unquiet Soul's new. I think episode 7 releases tomorrow.
Okay, all right. That's cool. That is so cool.
Yeah.
So, what do you do on your podcast, out of curiosity?
Well, I feel like Emotionally Unavailable is probably a lot like your show. So it really kind of started. Okay, so I'm a Gemini, so you're going to get a very long answer to that question. Okay, so
We love
what
long
happened
answers.
was I've been wanting to talk my whole life. Okay, felt silenced and really felt called to do the uh, podcasting thing for a long time, but I didn't want to do it without a co-host because I thought I wasn't interesting enough. So I was really battling myself with that. But I'm a person kind of perpetually addicted to the internet. And so, like, I'll take any quiz that pops up, like, which Grey's Anatomy character are you? Which Little Mermaid character? Like anything. Are you a narcissist? I'll take them all. And then there was a quiz about emotionally unavailable. And I was like, well, I'm not, because I really didn't think I was. I take the quiz and it says, oh, you're emotionally unavailable. And I was like, what? So I text a friend and I'm like, do you think I'm emotionally unavailable? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, what? Why? And I was pissed at her. I'm so serious. I was so pissed. I was like, why do you think that? Because in my mind, I was like, I've always like shared my story, but I didn't realize how disconnected from that story I really was, and how I would trauma dump and trauma bond and do all these things. But I was not comfortable being in the moment with those stories. So anyway, so I started my show on a journey to becoming more emotionally available and vulnerable. And then as I met more and more people, somewhere in there, I had a spiritual awakening. And then as I met more and more people, I've just learned and grown and like really just healed. And I continue to grow and evolve. So truly the show is about my journey, but anyone who comes on, the people that I select for the show is anyone who has gone through profound darkness and found their light and is now sharing that light with others, who has the same belief about what self-love really is, and has found compassion for themselves and others, and they just share their stories, or we connect about their story and then promote whatever it is they're doing. I have a lot of coaches and therapists and gurus and spiritual folk and whatever, so it's very similar to what you're doing.
Oh, that's really awesome. That is really, really awesome. I've got some great stories.
I bet you do. I bet you
I
do.
I have some great stories. We haven't set up our guest profile yet, but we do plan on being guests too.
Right on. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love to have
You
you.
with me, I wanted to start in Looking Through the Glass because of my recovery. I actually started it when I was still in active addiction.
Oh, wow.
So if you go back further on my YouTube, and I talk about things that I never shared with anybody because I was kind of guided.
Mm-hmm.
I was being told, no, you need to let out your deepest, darkest skeletons. Let it out, man.
Yep.
And I tell you, God and Jelly Roll, you know, his songs just really hit me. I was in a very dark place, and I just couldn't get rid of this demon on my shoulder called methamphetamines. And
Yeah.
it, and I had known that I was addicted, but I had to tell myself that I was addicted before I actually really believed it.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy about healing anything, is that like you have to understand it at a logical place before you can feel it? But the
Yeah.
thing about meth in particular, I think about this a lot just from family members who have struggled with this. Meth in particular, I feel like, is one of those drugs that immediately separates you from your soul, and you're out of your body. You're just floating in this universe, very disconnected. And that's why, like, when you look at someone in active addiction on meth, they're just not there. I
They're
feel
not,
like there's
yeah,
a
they
few
don't
drugs like
recognize
that.
themselves. That's how you
Right,
don't recognize
absolutely.
yourself. And you
Mhm.
know, my story, it's really funny. I'm going to be giving the last half of my story on Rock and Recovery here on Wednesday. And he mine goes for a very spiritual twist, a very supernatural twist. It's not like most. Mine was, I literally when I say that addiction is a demon for me, that is the truth. Like I
Yeah.
experienced some crazy, like uh I don't want to say that I was fully like possessed, but there was something attached to me that was dark. And like I went through this huge spiritual awakening. And you know, at the time I was going, God, I don't understand this, you know, because every time I used, I would go to God. That was the only thing because the only thing I had was a prayer. Because
Mhm.
of my head injury and the way I went about things, I hit my head and I was in active addiction. I was in a very fear based trauma type mindset, and I went about
Shame, full
everything
of shame. Yeah.
full of shame. And I was so afraid of losing because I was in a newer relationship and I was trying to show my best self. And
Yes.
I
Yes.
was so afraid of losing him. I mean, now we're married. We're going to be married 10 years now. But I mean,
Oh.
he married me in my deepest, darkest moments. And like, he proposed to me in my deepest, darkest time. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
Like,
love
you
that.
know, it is one of those fairy tale love stories. It really is. It really is.
Yeah, but it also just goes to show like you were worthy then, you're worthy now. Like that was the struggle you had, but we've all got something, like all of us are doing something to numb, escape, and you were worthy of that love even then.
And that's what he showed me, you know, and he was the first person in my entire life that actually didn't judge me and fought me to stay with me.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so sweet. It reminds me, I've had this song stuck in my head for about a month now, the Brandy Carlisle The Story. Have you heard that?
No, I don't think I have.
You got to
I
look
might
it up.
have. Okay, let me write that
You'll love
down
it.
because memory, they call me 10-second Tom. Yeah, like 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler is one of my favorite movies
I
because
love
it
that movie.
reminds me of my husband and me. Like my husband
Yeah.
went through great lengths to prove that he loved me, you know?
Oh, that's so sweet.
It is. It is. What was the name of it? See, I already forgot.
I'm almost positive it's called The Story by Brandy Carlisle.
Okay, I'll have to write that. Read that. Listen to that.
That's all right.
So tell us a little bit about your story. I know that you've been through a lot. Do you mind diving
Yeah.
in a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. My parents had me and an older brother and a younger brother very young. My dad had other children with other women, but for like my story, it really centers around my two brothers and me. I'm the middle, and we're all just like a year apart. And they were addicts, and like by 2 months old, I was in the hospital with a failure to thrive diagnosis, but it was from neglect because they were putting like orange juice in my bottle instead of formula. And so lots of like, I feel like my innocence was taken at a very young age because of that. And then there was a lot of back and forth. Like, in the 80s, the way they did reunification was very different than how they do it now. So, like, my mom would have 5 seconds of sobriety and get us back. I don't know anybody that could go from 0 kids to 3 kids and handle it well, especially in recovery. But um, I had like outside foster care that I was in, not very many placements, and then kinship foster care with my grandparents. And then when I was in third grade, something happened to one of my siblings to where my mom finally got a wake up call of like, oh, I continue to put my children at risk because of my behaviors. Because we'd be left alone for like days at a time, wherever. And
So
there was a
she
lot of
was
that.
very, very active in her
Very,
addiction.
very,
Yeah.
yes. And my dad
Okay.
was just kind of in and out of the picture. And so when I was in third grade, my grandparents got permanent guardianship of us. But then my grandpa left when I was in sixth grade. Just he was a bad dude, but he had an affair with his best friend's wife. After 36 years of marriage, he left my grandma for her. So and blamed us, said it was our fault. Which thankfully I never internalized that. I was just like, no, I think you're just kind of a fuck up, but cool. And then when I was 15, my dad died of a morphine overdose. And then when I was 22 and pregnant with my first kid, I got married when I was 20. My mom died from complications related to hep C and cirrhosis. And truly, from 0 to 18, there was not a day of peace in my life because as we aged, my brothers lived their pain very loudly. And so they caused me a lot of trauma too, just with the disruptions in our household and incarcerations and running away, institutionalizations, all of the things. I was the golden child, so I just continued to internalize my pain and try to just please everyone around me. And so after my mom died, I really kind of got to this place, and I'll be honest, like I'm not religious anymore, but I was then. But I remember when my mom was actively dying, or at least we were about to take that step because I at least had a few weeks. She was in a coma and stuff. She was incarcerated at the time and she started to bleed out in prison. But I had a few weeks with her in the hospital and a lot of ups and downs in that health journey. But I felt at least it wasn't sudden like with my dad. Like with my dad, I came home and I was told like your dad died. But
Mm-hmm.
with her, I remember we also found out during that hospitalization that she was HIV positive. She did do sex work in her past, but she was also an IV drug user. So I don't know how she acquired it. I know that in the minimum security prison that she had been in, she was tested for everything and did test positive for hep C, but did not test positive for HIV. So I think it happened during her escape from minimum security. She just didn't come back one day after her work release day and used again. So, I think sometime in there is when she got it. But I remember thinking like, okay, I have built up who this woman's going to be to me and this baby when she gets out. And like, if it's not going to be like that, I'm ready to let her go. Like I don't if it's her time, let's just go because I don't want to live. I knew that I wasn't going to allow that level of betrayal in any child of my life. And so setting those kind of boundaries, which I had already set so many, but like I was at peace like if this is her time, this is her time. And I think it was. But so she died and then I internalized that too. I didn't really know how to grieve and I was pregnant with my first baby and just on this mission to become the perfect mother and blah, 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 don't repeat these mistakes and whatever. And I am lucky enough to have not struggled with, addiction in that manner. I mean, I'm addicted to everything, but, not drugs, thankfully. But like I'm like I have the propensity to be addicted to anything. I'm just a dopamine seeker. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
addiction, but I feel lucky that I haven't like had that type of addiction with substances. But I mean, I've
Well,
dabbled,
my
don't
daughter
play.
doesn't have an addiction with substances, but she has an addiction with the internet,
Right.
with other. She has a non-substance addiction, so
Exactly.
we completely understand. We actually talk about that a lot on this podcast because we don't think that it's out there enough. You
Yeah, well,
know.
it's true. I mean, I'm first of all, I'm addicted to nicotine. I was a 3 pack a day smoker for from 18 to shit, I can't do math, but a long time, I think 13 years, and then switched over to vaping. I've done that since 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, a long time. I think about quitting all the time, but I don't. Addicted to food, addicted to sugar, like truly, addiction is just dopamine seeking or seeking escape. I do those things.
Yes.
I've done plenty of things to escape. So, um, I was just trying to be like the perfect mother and really set myself up for a lot of heartache in that area because I didn't know how to just accept that like there is no such thing as perfect. But I had spent my whole life trying to be perfect to earn love and belonging. So then, I mean, got divorced at 29, had a second child somewhere in there, and went to undergrad, went to grad school, whatever, was like making all the right decisions, not necessarily for the right reasons. And then I got remarried, had a third child, um, had a career that I was pretty happy in. I was a full time hospice social worker. And then I switched over to, after a while of that, I switched over to education. Just felt like I wanted something different. And I thought, I remember thinking, I wish I could be the type of teacher I wish my son had. Um, then I understood, how hard that job is. So after a few years of that, I switched over to school counseling. But really, like at 43, which was a couple years ago, I just reached like the pinnacle of a mental health crisis where I was just drowning in what I now know to be shame and just had very loud, what I thought was self talk, but in different ways, just telling me what a piece of shit I was and how everyone, but particularly my children, were better off without me because I was a
Hmm.
very reactive person. Like you say something, I'm quick to snap. Only with my family though. Like in public, I would freeze or fawn because I was really adverse to conflict, but because I internalized all of that, I'd come home and take it out on everyone I loved and then drown myself in the shame that followed. So
Yeah.
I was super depressed and I was like, man, if I'm gonna live, what am I gonna do? Like how do I live? Because I don't know what to do. And so it was really just like these small shifts in like resigning from that job. I started to find creative outlets and then I started the show. And when I started the show, um I met someone who taught me about the Finding Peace method and recommended the Finding Peace workbook. Best book I've ever had in my entire life. It's $25 on Amazon. I'm not an affiliate, I'm not anything, but I tell everyone I meet about this book because it changed my life. But he breaks shame down into different archetypes. And so I started to understand what the noise was in my head because like one archetype's like, you know better than this. And then the other is, yeah, but I wouldn't have done that if they hadn't done da 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 da. Yeah, but that's a cop out. And just constant fighting in my head to where I was like, I've
Yeah,
done lost the
same.
plot. I'm crazy. So fuck it. Like I was like, we're done. We're done. Nobody needs this in their life anymore, especially not me. And it got to where like, because I had been depressed my whole life, like off and on, not like every minute of every day or something, but I had really struggled. Um, but it was like I was no longer afraid to die, so that was the really bad part because I was like, no, I don't believe in hell anymore, so I'm not going to be afraid of going there and I'm just going to do this. But I also didn't want to. Like I wanted to believe that there was hope that I wasn't going to feel like this every minute of every day for the rest of my life. And that book changed it all because I started to understand because I had started to learn some about nervous system regulation and whatever, but I had no idea why I was so dysregulated to begin with. So kind of unpacking that stuff and like what my wounding actually was, that was the beginning for me and everything changed.
Isn't it crazy when you're able to start understanding, when you're able to start understanding why you're reactive, why you're
Mhm.
doing this, why do you keep running to this person that keeps rejecting you, why
Yes.
you crave this attention and you need this so much. I currently, so I have seizures really bad ever since I hit my head. But I was coming out of a very, very traumatic, abusive, long term relationship.
Mhm.
13 years with a very abusive husband, physically, mentally,
Ugh.
emotionally.
Yeah.
Very, very rough. It was when they say you get stuck in a spider web and you drowned, that's where I was. Like, because I
Yes.
didn't
Yes.
understand any of this stuff. I was so blind. But then,
Yes. I resonate with that. I resonate with that.
and then you turn around and you get out of that, and I turn around and started the same thing, right
Yep.
over again. Got in,
Mhm.
was working on myself, good by myself for like a year, this and that, and I let somebody else in. And what is he? He's addicted to gambling, and he takes me for everything I have that I've just barely got, which was like I was still like way below poverty line, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So I had
Yes.
this piece of shit Saturn car that was all I had to my name, you know. But nope, that I got taken for all of that, and then what, like, stopped
Oh.
talking to my family for a while, and then I realized how much I missed my mom. And that was where there was a little bit of an awakening inside of me of how I was treating my mother and why she was reacting to me in certain ways. And I
Mhm.
really just took a deeper look. And that was like one of my first awakenings. But in the middle of that awakening, I hit my head.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, I was right in the middle of that awakening. I had discovered meditation. I was in the discovery of things. And, you know, I'm a firm believer everything happens for a reason. And I refuse to allow anything that tragic happens in my life to turn into an actual tragedy because it's up
Yeah.
to me what happens with it. And and me, I was like, you know, I was big time into veterinarian. I went to school. I'm a vet tech. You know, my life was always animals, 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 animals. And I was going to have a nonprofit animal shelter. This was all in my head, you know. And then we moved to Texas, and that's not what it was. I started having seizures after
Oh.
seizure after seizure because I stopped using meth. I had to quit
Yeah.
cold turkey. And because I
Oh.
was using it during
Yes.
the severity of my head injury, because they told me if I hit my head any harder, I wouldn't be alive.
Ugh.
And yeah, and I literally hit my head on a hand railing at Grand Canyon, one of those hollow metal hand railings
Oh my
that,
gosh.
and it reverbed down like 300 feet. Like everybody
You have to have
stopped and
surgery
turned.
and stuff?
Nope, no, I didn't have any bleeding. Now they said you can't tell if my head is actually fractured or not because it happened right here in my suture lines.
Ugh.
So when you do concussions are based on how much vibration went through how many different parts of your brain.
Ugh, you're giving me the
It hit
chills.
right here. Yeah, it hit right here. And
Dang.
it was an
Yeah.
immediate response. But because I was still so stuck in my trying to impress somebody, you know, trying to show that I'm
Yes. Oh, you
way
gotta be
more
tough.
together than what I was. I didn't
Yes.
go to the doctor for 3 days. My
Yeah.
husband had to take all the keys from me and everything because I was still trying to drive,
Yeah, he
you
was like,
know.
mm.
Yeah, and he literally almost had to drag me, and he my son was visiting, and he used my son against me, which was the
Oh,
best thing, of course. I
yeah.
mean, he didn't use them against me, but he used them
Yeah.
as a look, your son is here and he's noticing there's differences in you. I'm telling you, you need to be checked out. But it took him
Mm.
3 days to convince me.
Dang.
That, yeah, when we say stubborn, we're stubborn here.
Are you an Aries?
I'm a Pisces.
Okay. Do you have Aries in your chart?
I'm sure I do. But I'm mainly Pisces. I have Pisces as my ascending and Pisces as my sun.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
When you do now, I don't know, are you into numerology? Because I love numerology.
I mean, I'm into it in that, like, I listen when people tell me about it, but I've never studied it.
Well, if I had a numerology chart done on me, and he went off of like the ancient Babylonian times and then Egyptian numerology and this and that, it was a big eye opener for me because what he was saying on on my charts, he was like, you're here to change the cosmos. He goes, I'm not saying the world. I'm saying like what your chart is saying is like you're here to change the cosmos and you're here to bring light onto things. And that was before I started the podcast, but I had it in my mind of
I
we
love
were in the
that.
works.
You know, I've
And
been
that
told
is
the
one,
same thing. So we're
huh?
super, I said, I've been told the same thing. So we're super aligned.
Well, I think we are. Well, it sounds like we're very, very similar in our reactions to things, at least.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. For real. Well, and I asked about Aries because it rules the head and a lot of people will get like head injuries.
Oh,
But I'm
well,
an Aries rising, so I don't know how much that plays into my shit. I don't know.
I think I might be. I'm not sure. I have to
What's
look
your
at it. Head
moon?
injury. I can't. Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
picture it.
That'd
But
be funny
even
if
if
you're
I
an
didn't
Aries
have head
moon because
injury,
Pete's an
human.
Aries moon too. Yeah, I feel you. I feel
Yeah,
you.
I think I might be Aries moon, or no, I think I'm Virgo moon.
Oh,
I think I might be
that's
Virgo
tricky
moon.
with Pisces. Shit.
Uh, yeah, but I'm a very firm believer. I've always been a person of faith. Um, and I'm a big firm believer that we are, especially after my experiences, when I talk about like how I was able to all of a sudden stop doing drugs, like it was
Yeah.
literally like that. Um, and I say it was a miracle. Like it really, really is. When I say I believe in the power of prayer, that is something that I wholeheartedly believe in. But
Yeah, because
you
meth's no
know,
joke, man.
it isn't. And then I was having over 90 seizures a week. Like when I quit
That's
doing it,
I can't
when
even
I
believe
quit
you have
doing it, and
brain
I
function.
couldn't, and I refused to go to, because of the amount of narcissistic abuse that I had suffered it throughout my life with family members making up lies about me and stuff like that. Um, I refused to go to a treatment center. And then when we started looking up treatment centers, some of them was the very cold, hard method with the seizures. And that's not the way I was willing to go.
Yeah.
And because my husband didn't know about my addiction until we were married for 5 years.
Holy hell.
Yeah, I kept it hidden. Like
No
I was,
wonder though. You were so covered in shame. Like God, keeping
yeah, I
secrets like that.
was. I would
Oh,
cry every time I would sit in my bathroom, and I would cry as I was hitting the pipe
yep.
because I was so stuck to this, and I
Secrets keep you
hated
sick,
myself
man.
because of
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
not that I was out stealing, not that I was out doing any harm, but
No,
because
but
of
you
the
felt
shame
at
that
your
was
core
projected
fundamentally
on me.
unlovable. Yeah.
Yeah, from all the shame that had been projected on me, because shame is not something that it is not a natural emotion.
Right.
It is a projection only.
Mm-hmm. But
And
boy,
when
do
you
we love to
learn that,
internalize it.
yeah. And when I started learning about all this stuff, it was just like light bulb after light bulb after light bulb after
Yeah.
light bulb after light bulb. And then I dived more into different spirituality and this and that. And I know that all my Christian friends are going to go, no, 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 this is the devil. But tarot helped me. Tarot
Yeah.
helped me because the number one thing you have to learn in tarot is yourself.
Yep.
And
Tarot
that
helped me
helped.
too. I don't think I realized how much it helped me till you just said that, but it really did. It really opened me up to my intuition and trusting myself and
And trusting
all
that
kinds of stuff.
God voice inside of yourself, because you already have that, and I mean, I have my friends, I trust me, my family members and stuff like that. So if my pastor listens to this, I love you, but you know me, but it did, it really, don't get me wrong, I prayed and I was very, very, because I know that there's dark things out there that are tricky, you know like I pray every time I go do a show, I pray over it, because it
Yeah.
literally, when I say jelly roll and God, or God and jelly roll, because I'm not putting jelly roll in front of God, but his songs spoke so much to me, because it was hearing the voices, but not knowing who it is, and this and that, it really, really, I was just driving home, bawling my eyes out. Can't get rid of this addiction. It's just so heavy on me. And now my husband and I might be breaking up. And how am I going to even get a
Mm,
job? Or how am I
yeah.
going to do this? Like my world was crashing, but it was the best thing in the world for me, because it led
Yeah.
me to this.
Can't have light without dark.
Yeah, it was the best thing that happened to me. One of the best things that happened to me. My head injury, all of it.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's crazy how when you get to the other side, you can be so grateful for how bad it got because you know that you would never have felt desperate enough to get to the place that you are now if it hadn't gotten so bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I heard that voice go, "You're going to start a podcast," my initial response was, "Fuck you." Because it was, you're gonna show people what it's like to get clean. And I was like, I didn't spend 10 years hiding this. Like, to
Right?
for
Right?
me to just, and then now I'm going to tell all the people that made up all these lies about me. Now I'm telling them, "Oh no, you're right. You're actually right.
Yeah.
I was actually doing drugs. I mean, I wasn't at the time, but it was, it was like, no, 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 no." And it just hit me even harder and harder and harder. And I was so afraid to do it by myself, like you said. And
Mhm.
I looked at Giselle and I was like, "You want to start a podcast?" She goes, "About time."
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, she's like, "I've been waiting 15 years for this."
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I gotta say, thank you. Like, I loved this conversation. It was really great.
Yeah, absolutely. I had so much fun.
Yeah. I'll have to come on to yours if you don't mind. I would like to come on to
Yeah,
yours.
that'd be
I have
awesome.
some, yeah. So, I'm normally used to have another person here to take up my blanks.
Are you having one of those moments?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. It's all right. Hey, that's what all this is about is just like, okay. Sometimes sometimes I'll be like, and that's all I know to say about that. And I just stop talking and I'm just praying that the person's gonna like, yeah, and then da da la 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 la. And there's that pause where you're just like, please say something else. Please say something else.
That is
That's
so
so
me
funny.
with every single one. I'm like, "Okay, yes, please. All right, yes." They said something else. Woo, cool.
Yes. Well, because you're like, where else do you go? No, I totally get it. I totally get it. Well, and that's the thing too, is that like people like us, I think just our signature really is being super authentic. And that, like you said, you don't edit. I don't really either. There's times where I will edit, but not very often. And I think you're right. I think it's important to get really good and comfortable with taking up your space, be you, be exactly who you are because so much of this journey is learning to embrace all of those things that for so many years we perceived as failures or flaws, and they're not. They're a part of your magic. And
They are.
you having a brain injury really put you in a position to not be able to fake anything, and I love that for you because you're just showing up exactly who you are, and you are going to come across people who are not your people, and you will figure that out really quickly. But and next, because
Yeah,
there are so many
absolutely.
people who are meant for you and who are meant to share this energy with you. Your energy's sacred, so be glad for the people who make it obvious right away that they are not going to share in the sacred nature of your energy. They're just there to promote themselves or whatever. But this journey that you're on is nowhere near over. Like you're going to learn and grow even more, and appreciate even more and all of the things. So I just appreciate that you're showing up exactly how you are because I mean, I don't know, that's just my vibe. I don't like any of the fake pretense stuff.
I hear you. I appreciate you showing up just the way you are. And the kind words, especially like at the beginning of the podcasting thing, you can never hear enough of it,
Yeah, yes, 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 yes. I
You
totally
can
get it.
never, especially when you do come across those ones that you just don't mix with, and it's
Yeah.
bound to happen.
Yeah,
Not
I've
for
had a few.
everybody.
Yeah.
That we're not made for everybody, and that's why I feel like that there's more of us that are needed, because guess what? There's things that you're going to be able to say that's going to, I can say the exact same thing, but you're going to touch people that I'm not going to. You're going to
Right.
sink into those ears that I'm not going to. That no, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to start where you're at, because that's where you need to start. You need to realize where you're
Yes.
at, start where
Uh-huh.
you're at, be okay with where you're at, and just know that it's a journey. It's work, but it's a journey. And
Yeah.
as you get on the other side, you will thank yourself.
Yeah, I guess that's a big takeaway too, is it's so worth it. I promise you it's worth it. Have hope in the fact that it will be worth it, because I mean, I had tried for so long to find peace and just to exist in a space that wasn't full of rage inside of me from the time
Hmm.
I woke up till the time I went to sleep. Now, if I'm getting kind of agitated, that's different for me. And I have to be like I was talking, I have a 23-year-old and I was talking to him the other day, and I don't know, the conversation just started to agitate the hell out of me for some reason. And so instead of like fighting it or whatever, I was just like, yo, for some reason I'm feeling really agitated. So is it cool if we just don't keep talking about this? Because I it has nothing to do with the conversation or you, but my brain is just like tired and I just don't want I don't like the way I feel right now. He's like, yeah, that's fair. But like used to, I would have just started snapping,
Hmm.
snapping, and then that would have caused a fight, and then cycle, cycle, cycle. But now it's
Cycle,
just like,
cycle.
okay, yeah, oh, it's
I have
all a
noticed
cycle.
that difference. I do. I have noticed the difference in me on that aspect too. The I don't snap. I don't fight back. I'm so open with, hey, I'm just dealing with this right now, or I don't understand, because what sometimes will happen with me is right in the middle of a conversation, you'll be talking English, and then all of a sudden in my brain is picking up German, and I don't know it.
Oh,
And it's really, and it'll automatically hit those frustration feelings,
yeah, yeah. I
and I
have
don't
that when I
know.
can't hear. Like I
Yeah.
have hearing loss in this ear, and when I can't hear, instant pissed. Instant.
Hmm. Yeah. And instead of, before I would bite, I would bark and
Mhm.
snap.
Yep.
And now it's more of a, hey, I'm not quite understanding, can we just take a minute, or give me a
Mhm.
minute, or whatever the situation is. Whereas before,
Yes.
everybody had to really feel me, instead of
Oh
me
my
just
god,
being
yes. Me
vocal.
too. Me too. I was the
Everybody had to
worst.
feel me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I was too. And it kind of just like now I'm just at a place where like with other people when they act that way, I'm getting much better about being like their stuff's about them, my stuff's about me. They're not acting that way because of me, they're acting that way because of them. And so I just try to skip the whole part of like, I can't believe you talk to me like that. I mean, give me some PMS, I'm still going to act that way. But for the most part, overall, I can be like, dang, you're in a bad mood today, and move on and not
And not
internalize
take
any of that.
everything so personal. I
Yes.
personalized
Yes.
everything. And I sit
Me
back and I
too.
think about it, because my husband will be able to say something to me now that he wasn't able to say to me even as far back as maybe a month ago, because I'm still
Yes.
in this process.
Yes.
And he'll say something to me and he'll be like this, and I'll start laughing. He's like, okay, whew. And I'm like, yeah, I know, the
Exactly.
old me would have chewed you out and been so pissed, and it would have been a fight, and it would have been how much you
Yes.
don't love me, and how much,
Oh, don't love me at all. Don't care about me. Don't
yeah,
care how I
you're just
feel.
putting me down. And then I turn it into bedroom issues, and then I turn it into,
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Exactly. Like that is exactly the way my life was for so long. For so long. Like,
yeah.
in fact, like, I've been pretty open about this, but really where I see the lasting impact of my stuff really is between him and me. And where like I've been working really hard on just not being such a bitch to him. And I realized, well, at first I was like, oh, this is just a protective layer between me and him where I'm really afraid to fully trust. And then I realized it was me I was afraid to trust because I did,
Mhm.
I think when you have a faith in any sort of higher power, faith tells me that no matter what, I'm within a divine plan and that I'm going to be fine because I do have everything inside of me that it takes to get through anything. And like, yeah, I'm going to experience heartache more in my life, and I'm going to experience stress and joy and all the range of things that you can experience. But like, no matter what, all my worth and value is here. Nothing external of me changes that. And I'm going to be fine. Like, yeah, I'm going to stumble and I'm going to get up and I'm going to do things, but I'm fine. And I'm still within this design that, my divine plan for my life. And so I think where I'm learning to trust is that, and that I was so afraid that I think we all carry around the I'm too much and not enough thing. And I think that not enough comes up far more often than I ever realized. And so any fears that I have are really just a fear of me not being enough to rise to whatever occasion I may come across. And so as I have gotten clearer on that, our relationship is even better and even deeper because I don't have to assign meaning and morality to every little thing this man does. Whereas before it was just a constant analysis of should I or should we've been together 16 years, okay? But still I'm like, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't be married, all the
You
time.
do?
All the
I'm
time.
not alone on that. I do it to my poor husband all the
Yes,
time.
all the time. All the
All
time.
the
Just like
time.
daily, honey, daily. I would be
Hmm.
like, and this is why I think we should divorce. And then like, 2 hours later I'm fine and hey baby, how you doing? And then the next day, and this is why, this is it. I knew it.
Hmm.
And it's just that constant back and forth. And that's just a very clear sign of no self-trust. Like trust that what will be will be. It will unfold the way it's going to unfold. And it's not that serious. And okay, let's say worst case scenario happens and I say maybe we shouldn't be married. Then what? Nothing. Who cares? Like why am I constantly wrestling? If at some point I decide that that's what's best for whatever reason, fine. But why is it a constant back and forth? It's just a fear of trust that I'm not enough to deal with
To show
stuff.
up.
That's what's triggered every time we have a disagreement is that fear that I'm not enough to deal with it. I'm enough. I'm more than enough. I'm more than enough to deal with anything that comes, you know, at me. And so the more I lean into that, the less all that noise takes up space with me and him, because really that really is the last part of where I'm taking things too seriously, like where and I am a giant bitch to him sometimes. But I've been getting like I'm working on it because I don't want to be that person, not because I hate myself for it or whatever. Like I looked at this man and I said, I'm gonna be a bitch sometimes. You have every right to make whatever decision you want to make about our relationship because of that. You don't deserve the way I treat you. I mean, I'll tell you that. But like, if you stay, that's on you, boo. Like, cause this is who I am, and I don't know that it will change drastically or whatever. So then knowing that, I'm like, I can't take responsibility for his choices. He chooses to stay in this marriage. So I'm going to choose. I want to live love. And so I don't want to be the person who's just like snappy at him all the time, I mean, I'm not like verbally abusing. I mean, I did used to, but like, now it's just like, I'm
I
just snappy and I don't
completely
like it.
get what you're saying because you're like, I'm looking in the mirror right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
You get it.
I could I completely get what you're saying because I think as part of my healing journey, I've realized that I think it's just part of my healing journey, the struggle with that. And and realizing no, it is me. And I've really just recently, I would have to say maybe within the past week, came up with that conclusion of no, it's me wrestling with myself, not
Yeah.
me wrestling with the relationship. I'm
Yep.
apparently fine with it because I'm in it. If I
Yep.
wasn't fine with it, then I wouldn't be in it. So if I wasn't happy or gaining from it, then I wouldn't continue to be there. I know
Mm-hmm.
me. So I need to understand that this wrestle is only within myself and not within my relationship.
Right. Well, and our relationships just mirror us anyway. I think what really helped me too is like thinking about beyond the dumb stuff that I'm mad about every day, which by the way is valid. I mean, the stuff I complain about is valid, But like beyond that stuff, like who do I want to be there in that age where like it's just you and them because your kids are gone and you're what kind of qualities do I want? I absolutely want it to be him. Absolutely want it to
Mhm.
be him. And so it's easy. I the less I judge myself, the less I judge him. And that's really where all that struggle came from was, like our washing machine needs to be fixed right now. And I am pissed at him that he hasn't fixed it yet. But before it was like that was a character flaw. Like you just and then is this really who I just that cycle, just the dumb shit, right? And now I'm like, or I just understand that he's a human too who feels intimidated by fixing this, and that's his process to get over. I can be frustrated, but do I have to be unkind in my frustration? No. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I am. But then other times I'm just dealing.
Well, we all are human, We're all human. We're all here experiencing this together,
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is a beautiful experience because I don't even think, like, I thought for a while, like, we each had this individual purpose. And I think that we have missions, but I think the purpose really is to get the most out of this human experience as possible and to experience the most amount of joy. The most amount of joy. But you can't get to joy without getting through the mud first.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you wouldn't know what joy is if you haven't gone through the mud.
Exactly. Contrast. You got to have that contrast. You have to know what
Yeah.
not joy is before you recognize joy.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm really enjoying this conversation, but we both have more
We
other
do. We
recordings.
do.
We'll
Yeah,
have
I've
to.
loved it.
Yeah, this was actually, God, I could do this all day long. I'm telling you, this is my new DOC is podcasting.
Right? No, I'm with you. I just got off a recording. I'm doing this, and then I have another one after this. And I'm like, this is the best day ever.
Yeah,
Give
it
me a
is so
chance to
much fun.
connect.
Each
Love it.
time, each connection is just, each one is so amazing. And I love this. I even told my husband the other day, I was like, I can see why God is putting me here. Like, I can see because I had to deal with the whole crash down of my dream and all of that, and
Yep.
then go, and I felt like such an imposter. I'm not feeling like such an imposter sitting in this chair anymore.
Exactly.
Like, I'm starting to feel the
Yes.
glove. I'm starting to understand because people will tell me, wow, no, you actually asked the hard questions. I'm like, really? I'm just asking questions. I didn't understand that
Right.
I was,
Yes. Yes. You're like,
I'm like,
it came in my brain, so I asked. It's
yeah,
it's
like
what I
I'm just,
genuinely wanted to know. But when you're
yeah,
when you're asking from that place of connection and curiosity, it's different than what will a an audience like to hear.
yeah.
And
And
so
I
like
really
the
do
people
this.
that
This
need
is so
your message
selfish of
love
me.
that.
The podcasting is one of the most selfish things I've done for myself. Like,
I
I
love
do
that.
this for me, and Giselle does it for her. We do it for us. And whatever God wants to make of it, then it's in God's hands or the creator's hands, whatever you want to, the divine. I
Yeah,
believe in
I
the
love
divine
it.
plan.
Yep. Well, that's the way the law of attraction works is you go and now release. Like whatever, I'm going to put this into the
Exactly.
world and I'm going to detach from outcomes and
I'm
I'm just
telling
going
you,
to keep
ever
on
since I
rolling.
surrendered, I have seen the most remarkable, and I'm not saying this to blow my head up or anything like that, but ever since I have surrendered and went, okay, I'm done. I'm giving all of this to you. Tell me what to do. I'll do it.
Yep. Yep.
Since
Yep.
doing that, I have had more miracles happen in my life than
I'm
I
not the
can
least
say.
bit surprised.
And yeah, I'm human. I have my shitty days. I have my
Yeah.
days where I'm fighting seizures. Don't get me wrong. I'm still working on me. I'm still going through it, but every day is truly a blessing. It really, really is.
I love that. Well, I'm so glad I got to meet you. I hope I'll get to meet her at some point in the future. And I had so much fun with
We'll
you.
keep contact. We'll keep contact for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll you know what? I'll message you my number if you want to.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, I gotta wrap this up. Normally she does the exits. So now it's really
Cross our fingers.
as always, to our audience, thank you for looking in through the glass. Melissa, thank you for being here. I love this conversation, And I really think that it'll get hit the ears that it needs to hit. And again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if anybody wants to reach out to us, our email is 12 in through thru 34 the glass at gmail.com. I know it's long. Listen to it a few times. You'll get it. Thanks again, guys.